Good evening, and welcome to another ironic introduction to another video. Today, I will be continuing my series, An Amateur on the Road to Uncollected. What you've missed so far is me getting absolutely wrecked by Quest 2, Act 5.1.2. I got completely destroyed, and I took a little while off. I did go back in finally, like a week or so ago, and I did clear my way through it. I popped about 7 revives and quite a few potions of just like in-game potions and revives that I had earned, and it depleted me pretty hard, but luckily I was able to do it. And today I'm going to move on to Quest 3 as well as Quest 4. Unfortunately, when I was playing, I was at my fiance's parents' house, so I was using my recording software on my phone, just kind of like recording off the phone. So I'm going to go through and just kind of comment as I play through this. That was my Hulk setup from trying to clear the quest for the stones. It's like incredibly easy. I just like to bring 3 Hulks because once you've built your maxed Furies, you can just hit auto, and then it's like a 10-minute fight, so you just walk away. And it's really easy. I apologize for not having any sound. Might be some in-game sound you get from this one, but unfortunately, I still haven't really set that up yet, as I'm just, I'm a bad person. What am I gonna say? I wonder if I can speed this up at all. I don't think so. So I'm just kind of figuring out my champions here. This chapter, this quest, the major node in this quest is Flare, and so you deal 300% increased damage. I already scouted the path ahead. I know full well this is like the best path to take. I do go a little suboptimal, I think, but it's not so bad. Yeah, so I'm just kind of double checking the nodes, popping my EXP boost, popping a greater health boost here. The Flare node causes you to deal 300% increased damage, and you take 100% of your health over the course of 60 seconds. So essentially each champion only has 60 seconds to live. But with suicides on, I am doing more damage here, so these fights do go incredibly quickly. And the health boost I popped is not in order to kind of like counteract the flare, as it doesn't work, but it's to kind of counteract when I get punished, right? So in this situation, I would lose less health as a result of being punished. With the Mega Red here, not so bad. If I hadn't been punished, I'd been like 80. I would have been at like 80%. That would have been much more reasonable. But sometimes you just can't help it. Crossbones is pretty easy, as long as you aren't super reliant on stuns, because you do have that chance to just get SOL. As long as you bring a mutant, he should never really shrug off the stun. It's only like a 10% chance. And then this Hulkbuster fight should also be relatively easy. I bring Hyperion in here. Hyperion is another like grade A champ for Flare, just because he has so much burst that you should be able to just wreck the fight. I was kind of hoping for 2 Fury stacks there, but you can't pick how RNG favors you. I'm not going to SP2 here because he's still a little too healthy, and as a result, I do get hardcore punished for it. It kind of makes me wish I had SP2'd, but Hulkbuster is a little bit beefier, so I don't want to be spamming SP2, but I really should be, even at the cost of recoil. It's just, at the time, I didn't think I would kill him if I had done it. Just kind of an unknown thing. Unfortunately, this is like my 3rd or 4th time fighting Hulkbuster, and previously I had been fighting him with Ronin, as my Hyperion was in Alliance War, and so I wasn't in a position to use him. But it's Sunday and Alliance War, where we just placed Defenders recently, and so I didn't have to worry about that right now. This video will be delayed, just because I have a wedding, as well as maybe some other videos I make. So I'd really like to use it as kind of a buffer video, so it'll come out in a couple days from now, but that still shouldn't be so bad. I'm not really worried about heal block. It doesn't really do anything. I mean, it's essentially just to prevent people from capping willpower and then utilizing that. Oh, the video froze. There we go. Don't worry, I just picked Hulk Ragnarok into this fight. You can see you take a lot of damage on blocks. Like, you really want to get that parry. If you don't get that parry, you're SOL. But this goes okay. At least right now, like you can see, I'm just ticking down from the degeneration plus the blocks damage I'm taking, and that's even with, I have the max block proficiency as a mastery. I screw up here. I actually thought that I could punch him once and kind of bait into an attack, and I misjudged the amount of special he would gain, so I just get face wrecked here. Unfortunately, this path is just, it's brutal. I mean, there are definitely ways to handle this path. Unfortunately, I am of the belief that the best way to handle this path is bring your either your hardest hitters. Um, yeah, nope. Honestly, just bring your hardest hitters or bring stun immune. If you could bring champions with like really strong special ones, really strong special twos, that's really your best way to handle it. I just brought my hardest hitters just because I am running suicides, and so I can't really rely on my specials as much as other people. And I am fairly determined to get all the way through Uncollected without having to turn suicides off, as I am aiming to be Uncollected in a little over a week after the Halls of Healing event, when I can stock up on potions. I know that does feel a little bit excessive, but you know, that's just how it is. I bring magic into this fight, thinking that I could cheese the unstoppable, like once I built up some charge, and you can see I could have sworn I blocked that parry. I don't know what's going on with this Juggernaut. Every time I fought Juggernaut today, it just felt like I was missing the parry a lot more than I should. But just so much damage up front in that beginning of that fight. I'm trying to use her limbo and in order to kind of like stall out on the degeneration. But you can see that I'm just ticking away quickly, so I start to get desperate here. And again, like, I could have sworn I dexed that. Even rewatching that, like, that looked really close. But I definitely understand that when you dex that, you have to dex right when he hits the ground. If you dex right before he hits the ground, you'll still get tagged by it. So that's what happened there. It's just unfortunate. I was in my zone, and I just kind of messed up. So I didn't heal Vision here because I'm really trying to do a dry run. I have a team revive, so I'm willing to top people off a little bit. But I'm like, at this point, I'm pretty determined to clear the route. And typically from here, like when I was watching Seaton's video for this on how he did it, he went down and then he went to the nodes with Wolverine, etc. But those nodes are harder, and the last time I did this, the Wolverine just absolutely wrecked me. And I really feel like those nodes added enough difficulty while it's less fights, so you are suffering from less degeneration, it kind of raises the scale that you have to do as a player, and you get punished a lot harder if you make a mistake. So I decided, hey, I'm already committed to popping a team revive. I'm committed to using some heals here, so I'll take the longer path, right? I feel like I can blow those people up. I'll take some extra damage from degeneration, but as a result, I won't have to be as good of a player. And so I'm taking this approach because my Alliance member, he told me that what he did was he grinded hardcore in the arena, used those units on potions and revives, and then he used that like slow and steady technique in order to clear Act 5. And so I'm really going to take that approach. I really wanted to do this with using as many potions and revives as possible, especially in this first chapter. But at the end of the day, it's just about getting that clear, and I don't need to prove that I'm the best player in the world. I'm just trying to prove I can get Uncollected. And, you know, this is really more of a realistic approach, right? Not everybody is a master tier player. So you can see I'm doing pretty well against this Thor Jane Foster. I really need to get used to Omega Red. I haven't had the perfect amount of time, and here, I missed it by 8%, and as a result, I got punished hard. And I phase out. I really thought that SP1 would kill her, which was really unfortunate. It's tough to gauge your damage, right? Sorry, it keeps flipping. That's just because, like, when I was playing, I was looking straight down like this, and so my phone kind of flips just with micro movement. But for some reason, I feel like that puts me in the zone the best. So, yeah, it's just really hard to judge your damage. Up Vision in this fight here. I don't know why it freezes so often. I'll have to watch that. She was super low. Oh, shucks. That's not good. My apologies. Oh, perfect. So I brought Vision into this fight here. And so the nice thing about this chapter is you can gamble. And so I gambled with a quick draw here. Oh, I gambled with a parry. Sorry, later on I start to gamble. I get a little bit greedy. But I did hit the parry that time. I think that getting that first parry is incredibly important. I like to think of the start of a fight essentially like not quite a rock, paper, scissors, but maybe like a rock, pencil, scissors or something, because sometimes you go for the parry and they just dodge backwards. Sometimes you go for the parry and they attack into you, and sometimes you get the quick draw, and even though they also quick draw, you as a player for some reason will have the advantage. I like to think that I think the characters have like the animation speed affects the whether or not you'll hit first. So I'd like to look into that more. I am a big fan of Hyperion onto Ultron, just because when he's about to heal, you can pop your SB2 and just try to facepalm him. So in this situation here, look, I mean, self-repair goes off, and I just face wreck him. Honestly, like, after this fight and seeing Hyperion, I definitely think that with the... Like, I almost wonder about taking 2 extra points in recoil, right? Like, especially in this path in particular, and then running Liquid Courage, right, because he's poison immune, and then seeing with Hyperion in a lot of these fights ranked up, you could probably just combo all the way up into your SB2, and then SB2 with that 60% increased damage, especially if you get the chance to like proc a Fury buff in advance. I really feel like you could blow a lot of these champions up just by prepping it that way, or even getting an SP3 off. Like, right, and if you're like, oh, okay, I'm not close enough for my SP2 to kill, you would just wait until you get to your SP3. But again, I'm in a position where I'm like, I know that I'm dying and it's ticking off quick. I screwed up the combo there, so I missed my SP1, and it really punishes me here. You die so incredibly quickly. It hurts. It really hurts. But again, it's not a big deal. I do have, I think, 4 team revives in this position. I'm down to Vision, and I could heal up. I really should heal up at this point. It would probably be more efficient. But like I said, I am committed to that team revive. So I decided to just kind of walk in and knock him out. Not a bad fight. Not a bad fight. I definitely feel like I play a lot better when I just do the recording on my phone, and then do this commentary. Unfortunately, it does mean that you aren't seeing my live reaction. I am way more excited about these fights after each fight when I'm doing it live. As well as I do kind of freak out whenever I clear a quest, just because it's a really satisfying feeling. Miles here, Miles is easy. I think you just gotta remember, like, if he evades, you want to like reactionary block or dash back, because he will go in for an attack the same way Nightcrawler was. I got greedy there. I didn't need to dex those to live through this fight, but I was like, I really figured that I was close anyways. I might as well go for it. So I think I've only got like 3 more fights here. And again, I should probably heal up. 16% health here isn't a whole lot. But there's only 3 fights. So I would say so far, for the most part, this has been a pretty good run. I've used some potions, haven't popped any revives yet. And it's definitely worth using some units to clear quests. I think that in Chapter 1, so far, at least from what I've seen, this is probably the most frustrating path. I mean, it sucks because you really got to take an aggressive play style, but at the same time, you can't play so aggressively that you just die for it, right? And so I'm at 40% across the board. There's only 3 guys, so I really think about how many potions I want to use here, because it took me a really long time to get these in the quests. You don't exactly get them very often. But I'm like, these small ones don't do anything. I'll dump 4 of them in. And then I think, I'm like, I'll dump 4 in. We'll see how far I can get with 1 person. Like, I really feel like maybe I didn't even need to use those, but we'll go in. Every little bit of extra health helps. Unfortunately, he plays really passive here, so I do take a little bit of degeneration just from that passive play. But so far, so good. Here, it really makes me think, like, I really need to get used to punishing every time after Omega Red mediums, because there is like a 30% chance you'll break a block, and it's just it happens a lot, like, because you do that kind of combo so often. So I really need to get used to like doing a medium and then like maybe a light attack, so I still have time to dash back or parry if he isn't breaking, but also like just because I need to be prepared in order to punish, right? You want to do something with that unblocked attack. Otherwise, it's really just 1 hit, and that's not really worth. I do like that, like, in this act, the AI is a lot more aggressive. I think that the biggest thing for me in progressing through Act 5 is that I've joined this, like, much higher alliance. And so, like, the enemies I've been facing recently are much more predictable, I feel. Because previously, when you're like going from Act 4 to Act 5, the AI is really wacky. I feel that it doesn't maintain itself very well. And so when you're trying to do this content, it's like, man, this is frustrating because you want it to be hard, but it's so different in the way the AI playstyle is that it takes a while to get used to this. And so I've had the benefit of Alliance War and Alliance Quest and going up against that AI to really get that practice. I mean, the AI is different in each one just because of the nature, but I bring magic in thinking like I know I don't have class advantage, but I really want that power control, and I really want just to see how far I can get with magic here. Because, you know, she has the ability to nullify his armor break. If I really need to, I can bring her to a power drain state. But I'm really lucky. He's super aggressive with these special ones and Iron Patriots. A special one is so predictable. It's incredibly easy to dodge, and I just absolutely wreck him. Tanked with magic. Like, I wasn't expecting to get that far. I was really just trying to get a feel for it. So at this time I was like, wow, that felt really good. And I did kind of regret popping a full team revive, but you know, you'll never know when you go to pop it. Like, you might just be insane and crazy and do what I did there. But you also might, you know, lose 4 people and clear the quest with your last person. So I did have 4, so it was worth it. I'm feeling pretty good at this point. I've got like, I want to say an hour on my next versus rotation. So I decide I'm going to jump in. I don't know what the node for this quest is because I really only watched up to this part here. So I'm like, whatever, this is a pretty good roster. We'll bring this in. I have other options, but, you know, they're a little over the place. So I spend a lot of time, like, thinking about these paths because, again, like, I don't really know what's optimal here, and this path looks whack. So I'm looking around. I'm like, I don't want to go against a Hawkeye. Rocket Raccoon wouldn't be bad, but it looks like that's extra fights, right? So I'm trying to do the smallest path. So at this time, I'm thinking about going like bottom left. I'm looking around and I'm like, okay, well, these all look similar, but I'm already leaning towards this one here. It's got the lowest PI. It's just armor up, special damage up. That seems reasonable. I'm not a fan of bleeds, not trying to walk into that. I could bring bleed immune there, but unfortunately, you can see that only like 2 of my roster is bleed immune right now. I could bring Luke Cage in, but he's currently in an Alliance quest, and I'm really trying to like get some practice on this quest because it took me a really long time to like mentally get prepared for the degeneration, and I'm not quite sure what the mechanic is around this one yet, as I haven't read up on it. So I'm like, I'm gonna go this top path. This is the lowest PI. Armor up as well as special is not unreasonable. I'm like, and then it's straight to the boss. I am just doing a quick check to count the fights. I go Cyclops, Ms. Marvel, right? And then this is where I read Life Transfer. And I'm like, at this point, I was actually thinking about stopping here. And I'm like, Life Transfer. I was like, man, that's a solid node to clear, right? I was like, so all I have to do is punch into them, you know, every 25 seconds or so, and I can clear. So I go for the Cyclops. I actually commit. I drop 30 units, and I'm like, I can do this. Life Transfer is easy. It might take me a couple tries, but like, I'm running Liquid Courage. So not only am I getting 125% healing on each hit, I'm getting I'm dealing 30% more damage. 2% per second is not so much because when I did get a Liquid Courage originally, I was a bad player and did it without willpower, which hurt a lot. So I'm like, 2% is not much faster. I definitely feel comfortable with an aggressive enough playstyle to accommodate. And I'm sitting here, like, I do this combo, and like I'm focusing on the fight, and then I take a moment to look up at my health, and I'm like, oh, so it's pretty much stay at 100 so long as you're punching them in the face. And I was like, power control is going to be insane here. Smackdown with vision, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be easy. I mean, I've got magic and vision in my roster at this point. I was like, there's absolutely no way. I mean, if I could go back, I probably should have slotted Hawkeye in. I probably could have slotted maybe that slow level Scarlet Witch. I mean, I have other power control champions I could have brought in here, but I'm pretty confident. I'm like, man, I'm just absolutely wrecking with vision here. I was like, you got to keep your momentum, right? Like, this roster worked for me on the last quest, so I decided to move forward. Plus, also, like, I am mentally prepared to be like, okay, that was a waste of energy, call it a day. If at any point I'm like, this was too hard. But also, I am under the mentality of, like, I have almost 1,500 units. I'm not afraid to drop a couple hundred units on revives and then start building up my pool again. Because I'm really trying not to go under 1,000 if I can avoid it, at least until I have a mass of health potions. Yeah, so you would think I would just bring Miss Marvel here, but I don't want to bring magic into someone I don't feel like I need to special control or power control. I want to save her in case I get make a mistake. So I just bring Hyperion. I'm like, he does a ton of damage, and I can just blow Miss Marvel up. And sure enough, fight goes pretty well. She's playing a little defensive, but luckily she's super aggressive with her special ones. I need to remember, like, a lot of times you immediately go to punish after a special, but Miss Marvel is weird because you kind of wait like a half second. And normally I would always go for the evade on that because there's no reason to take block damage, but you heal so much, like, you just block it, right? Why risk getting knocked down when you can just block it and then punish and heal up to full? So at this point, I'm like, I need a beta special. She's being stubborn. She's being real stubborn. I'm like, walk the line. There we go. Get the special bait. I definitely feel like that is the mechanic to do in this path, because unless you are bringing power control, like bring power control or bait specials, and you need to bait specials and do it well. Like I actually think you should start baiting specials at 1 power bar, because if you get screwed, you need to be able to punch into them to heal up, and if you can't do that, you're just gonna die to degeneration, which is incredibly frustrating. It does happen to me a lot on this path. I lose a couple of my guys to just not baiting specials early enough or getting greedy and thinking I can clear. But so far, I'm like, whew, I am on a roll. Life transfer is just as easy as I think. I'm really excited because the next quest I think doesn't look too hard either. And I'm like, yeah, I am gonna go with the lowest PI. It will mean, generally speaking, less health. I have no idea what these question marks are. I don't know if it changes every time you log in or if it's set and it's just set as a question mark to throw you off your first time. But I'm like, this is easy, right? Don't get hit by a special. Bait specials because you need to. Nullifies is null and void, so that really only affects my magic. And I'm like, I'm gonna bring Omega Red, right? Go ahead and take that class advantage. It's a Black Panther. I was like, oh, this is gonna be easy. Yeah, I mean, I was really excited about this fight. Black Panther is definitely not a tough champion to go up against. And you can see I'm like, because he's backed up against the wall, my mediums are reaching, even though he is technically dodging past them. I'm lucky he procs Death Field there. I got really lucky with this setup. I mean, Omega Red into Black Panther is like an ideal matchup. So I'm just gonna blow into him. I do start practicing that 2 light hit combo after a medium attack. I wish I had heavy attack there, but that's something I need to work on. Is getting a heavy attack in after they use a special, right? Because it's a set distance on a physical special. I'm just not quite sure how far Black Panther goes, and I'm not ready to do a heavy attack and then get punished for it, because that's a really good way to just lose a fight. Now this one, this fight is rough. So again, I just like obsessively checking the nodes to make sure that I'm not going to get thrown off by something. I'm like, Hulk Ragnarok, right? I don't know what this is, so I'll just bring class advantage because that's the best I can do. And lucky me, unstoppable Colossus. He's not hard to fight, but it's really frustrating to just sit here. And then I thought I got that intercept. I get punished so hard. I go aggressive, and he's blocking. I get the parry, heal up a little bit, but I'm not getting any crits. No crits across the board. So I end up pushing him into a special 2 here. And then I'm like, parry good, but I can't hit him. I have to bait this special. So far, not so bad, but I got that nice little 1-tap just to show that I can. I learned that trick from contest champion Brian Grant. So I love his videos. I learned a lot from them. And I'm like, man, no stun. That's rough. But you know, that's just how it is. And then I'm like, okay, now I need to start baiting the special 2. Walk the line. I'm like, walk the line. Nothing. Intercept. Get a little bit of punishment in. Parry. Nothing. I think I dodged too early there. But like, again, like that was perfect. I really feel like that was fine. But he does finally pop it. Get my 1 attack in. And at this point, it's like, oof, I meant to dex that. Because if I had dexed that properly, I would have been fine. Move in. I pop my special 2 because I'm like, I need to top off and then go right back into baiting specials. But it was my mistake. I forgot that his SB2 actually procs Enervate, and so I didn't have to bait a special. I could have punched into him and topped off, but I am lucky this unstoppable Colossus is staying highly aggressive. It's really not bad at all. Parry into him. punch through. This fight has been stressful. Like, it is so frustrating. I was a little late there, and so I get punished hardcore. But this isn't bad. Knocking him down to 23. Got 2 attacks in. It's nice because you can afford to trade into an unstoppable Colossus when he is like that. So, you know, it was a longer fight. It's harder. It's definitely frustrating. If this is a permanent one, I might take a different path, just because Unstoppable Colossus is not a fun fight. But at the very least, I cleared it. I'm like, okay, so we're done with that at least. We've progressed through. And I think, I know for a fact this video cuts out, unfortunately. It turns out that my phone ran out of storage, and when you're recording on your phone, for some reason it doesn't alert you. So I will update you. I'll pop in and I'll go through the paths, because I do end up losing a lot on this path, and I feel really committed at this stage. But this Iron Man's pretty easy. I don't know how that armor break works actually, because Iron Man I feel is like such an easy fight that you just kind of face roll him. So I'm like, I'll bait a special real quick. He says to himself. There we go. He popped it. Go ahead and punch in. I'm going to proc my special 3 here. Just get some free damage. And at this point, I'm like, man, he is a little bit tankier than I thought. I mean, even with that 300% extra damage, he is not dying very quick. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to bait one more special and then set up a combo for a kill. Get my nice dodge in. I punched in a little too early. Like, when they're in the air, you do have to wait like an extra quarter of a second or so. I'm really lucky with that extra stun, because it really allows me to just punch into him. I should have been able to combo, but I'm like kind of trying to gauge where the regen is, because I don't want his regeneration to bring him to a point where he does full heal. I do get through it, get to that nice 11%. And unfortunately, the video cuts out pretty soon. That's just the reality of, you know, recording away from home. I wonder how much more we'll get. Well, I think we'll get the next fight. So you guys can see this next mutant. I mean, and this is 9 fights. Like, it's been good so far, but you can see with when you start to get hit and you start to get punished, the fight can go sour really quick. So far it's been pretty good. I'm really happy that I've kept most of my guys up this far. And you know, some of the fights have been really long and really stressful. I really should have taken a break, I feel, because I do feel like I'm starting to feel the mental tax from Act 5 here. Part of the stress, part of the running into random nodes. I hate not being able to know what champion I'm going up against, because like I'm a really big pre-planner of like thinking about the specials and envisioning the way the champion works ahead of time. And so not being able to have that really screws me up. So I go in and I'm like, okay, this is not so bad. Pop my special, and that little sliver, I never hit that, so it felt really good. And I'm watching my bar. I'm like, oh, I forgot that it doesn't heal until afterwards. So I do need to be mindful in the future if I'm trying to end a fight with a special 3 and I'm trying to get some heal off of it. I don't think you get the heal if the fight ends. So just something to keep in mind, that you do want to spark specials early. And it's really nice because I feel like life transfer is incredibly suicide friendly, because like a lot of these champions like Vision, I almost never use his special 1 just because you take 5% every time and it's just not worth. But in life transfer, you know, you just top off right away. I really would make the argument for this path, if you have the masteries unlocked, you're going to want to maybe cap recoil, cap liquid courage, or cap double edge if you're running bleed immune champions. But I do feel like there are more power control champions that are either poison resist or slash you get to run champions like Hawkeye and stuff. So unfortunately the video cuts out there. So let me just block this so you can't see my awesome in-game, my awesome wallpaper. Go ahead and reconnect. The rest of the fights are pretty simple. There's really only 3 of the fights I want to cap down really quick, because I do end up having to spend units on revives here. I spend 120 units worth of revives here as I run into some trouble later down the path. Unfortunately, Unstoppable Colossus was not the only Colossus in the fight. There was just a regular, not Unstoppable Colossus. I forget what the name of it is, but the other Colossus that goes unstoppable. So right now I'm going to jump back in. Let me move this back now that I'm not embarrassed of my wallpaper. And it's not this one. My apologies. Is this one? And if you look at the units that I had, you can see that I only went down 120 units. I did only spend. I popped all of my daily crystals for the potions. I only had 9. I got some potions there. So we were here at this mutant. These next 3 fights, I don't remember what they were, but those were just as easy, just as simple and basic. It's really the unstoppable mechanic here at the Colossus. And this guy just totally wrecked me. I wasn't ready for another Colossus, so I went in and got obliterated like 3 times in a row, barely chipping any damage in. I got some solid damage with my last 2 guys, but then I had to pop a revive. I went ahead and I revived here I revived my Gladiator Hulk, and unfortunately I had 2 regular revives before I started using units. I didn't get it. I popped a second revive. I still didn't kill him. I popped a third revive, and I did finally take him down, and that was my first unit by revive. And I moved up into this node here, this science node, and I'm like, okay, science, this should be fine, right? So I'm sitting with my Gladiator Hulk, and I'm like, okay, this shouldn't be bad. So I bring my Gladiator Hulk in. No, sorry. I bring my Gladiator Hulk in, and it's a Rhino. I was not ready for that. I tried to go for the quick draw because my Gladiator Hulk was really low. I am out of health potions at this time, and I got wrecked. I lost the quick draw. He dodged back, medium dashed in, and just obliterated me. So I'm sitting here, and I'm like, okay, well, not sure what to do, but I know Rhino goes unstoppable if you bring someone who's smaller than him, and unfortunately, only Gladiator Hulk is big enough to handle this fight. So I go in, I revive Gladiator Hulk. I'm 2 units worth of revives in, or 80 units worth of revives in, and I do manage to clear most of this fight. He's got like barely a tick left. So I go ahead and I'm like, okay, well, the boss fight is Venom. And so I'm like, I'm just going to hope I can quick draw. And I pick up magic here, and I kill him. It was super easy. I get the quick draw. He's literally 1 hit away from dead. And so I move on to Venom. Now I'm sitting here like, nice. Magic should be good. This should be easy. Unfortunately, this Venom has some pretty crazy stuff on him. One of which being the node, which isn't shown, it's down here, is break the normal limitations of genetic memory with perfect recollection of up to 20 effects. Tough fight. I jump in and I go for the parry and I missed it. Like I could have sworn, like I'm pretty good at timing that initial parry. It's really easy. I just died instantly, and I'm like, well, this is gonna be rough. I revive magic up again, and this time I land the parry. Perfect fight. I mean, 120 units in, perfect fight the Venom. I almost make it look like this is the easiest fight in the game. Be mindful that I picked up magic because I did take the time to read the nodes. I saw this on him, and I took a moment to go and look up Venom because I was like, I have no idea what this means. But like he has a set of like things that he reacts to based on what type of champion you bring. So like if you bring a tech champion, I think in, or like a science champion or something, he can't be nullified. And he can't be power drained. He has like immunities and stuff. So I brought magic because I have the advantage, and so I don't lose as much. So you just got to be mindful of how many buffs he has, and don't let it overwhelm you, because really the fight is exactly the same as the rest. And I do think that this Colossus and this Rhino up here are the 2 hardest fights. Like if you don't bring an extra large character, or maybe Hulk Ragnarok is just a large character, but if you don't bring a large enough character to size up to Rhino, he's really hard because of that unstoppable buff that he gets from doing a dash in, as well as the Colossus, like unstoppable Colossus and Colossus in the same path. If these are not random every time, that is absolutely absurd to have this path. In hindsight, like knowing that, I would not take this path ever again. It was miserable. That's so tough to handle when you're already on a timer as is. But I did get the clear. I'm out of revives. I'm out of potions. I mean, I do have my team ones, but I'm really trying to hold on to those for the collector if I can, because I hear that fight's super fun and interactive. But other than that, finally a successful day. 120 units for 2 quests, plus burning out my stores of reserves. That's not bad. So 8 quests to go till I'm at the collector. And, you know, we'll get there. We'll get there one day, hopefully someday soon. Other than that, I'll talk to you later.